It's Miss Roseann Sunday School, won't you join in? We'll learn about the Bible, Jesus forgiving sins. Though the world is scary, God will see us through. Keep loving your neighbor just as God keeps loving you.
Miss Roseann here. Thank you for tuning into Ascension Kids Sunday School online. We miss being with all of you, and we pray for you all the time. So now I usually say a hello or a happy birthday to one or two of you. And today we are saying a special happy birthday to Leia, who turns 13 on Friday. Could you help me say a special happy birthday to Leia? Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Leia! Now, over the last few weeks, we have been learning about Moses. But Moses, or what Moses did, is not the most important part of all of the Moses stories. Moses is important, but in all of these stories, Moses, or the different people we learned about, like Jacob and Joseph and Noah and Samuel, they are not the most important part of the story. No. Each of those stories and all of those people of the Bible help us understand how much God loves His people. You see, God is the most important part of the story, and what God does, His love and His wanting to be with all of you. The people, well, they are God's helpers, God's servants. They were just regular people like you and me, and God wanted to use them. God is the superstar in the entire Bible. And in this episode, we learn how powerful and loving God is. Now, I'm going to ask you the questions so that you can think about them while we say the story, while I give the story. Here is question 1. How did God show His power to Pharaoh? Question 2. Why did God send the plagues? Number 3. What was God asking Pharaoh to do? And question 4. What promise did God make to God's people, the Israelites? Now, today's Bible story once again has the Nile River in it. If you want to learn more about the Nile River, go and look at the episode called God Leads His People that was aired on October 4th. There you will see and hear about everything about the Nile River. It's really interesting. Now, in this episode, once again, Moses is doing some more tricks or signs that God gave him to show His power. Today we will see that God uses some of the creatures of the earth that He made to show His power. What creatures will be in this story? Let's go to the backyard where some of your friends are waiting to help and give you some hints. Let's go to the backyard. Welcome to the backyard. We are out here with my 3 helpers who are going to help you at home play the game Guess That Creature, Moses, Pharaoh, Israelites edition. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Yeah! Great, they are ready. We're gonna go get started. Great! Now, before we start, let's introduce ourselves.
Clara. Samuel. I'm Thomas.
Excellent. Now let me tell you how we are going to play this game. First, each of my 3 helpers will show you at home the 6 creature choices. Secondly, I'm going to ask each of them to do actions, but I'm not going to tell them which creature the actions are for. At the end, they will have to figure it out and pick one of the answers. Let's play Guess the Creature.
This is a frog. This is a cow. This is a fly. This is a goat. This is a locust. This is a horse.
The first creature walks on all 4 legs. It is very naughty and curious. It will try to escape from its pen. This creature likes to climb and even climbs large tree branches. These creatures like to look around rather than graze. They eat plants, bushes, tree branches, and straw. They love to pick at things to eat and explore. They will eat almost anything, including tin cans, clothes, hats, and even cardboard boxes.
What is it?
Is it a goat?
You are right, Thomas. It is a goat. You are correct, Thomas. It is a goat.
The second creature has wings and moves about in the air and sometimes lands on your picnic food. When they want to taste this food, they taste with their feet. They eat liquid things and turn solids into liquids. Their tongues suck up this liquid like a straw. A female lays about 600 eggs to make more of them. They die pretty quickly, living only about 21 days. Thank goodness, I guess we can be glad that they die quickly because these creatures can be very annoying and people like to swat them away.
Clara, what is this creature?
It's a fly.
You are right.
This animal walks on all 4 legs. It likes to graze, which means hanging around in the field to eat hay and grass. These animals will also eat carrots and apples. They are very strong and people ride on their backs. It can trot, which is a fast walk, or it can run or gallop. It can help pull a big cart or wagon. People use these before cars. This animal can sleep standing up or lying down. People like petting this animal, and they are sometimes used to help people not to be sad.
Clara, what animal was that?
It's a horse.
That's right. Can you go get the horse? And then show it to everybody at home? Go back in the middle. Show everybody at home. Good job, Clara.
This creature is down on its 4 legs, but it does not walk. It sort of crawls with wide arms and legs. It is an amphibian, which means it lives on both land and water. They breathe through their noses, but also their skin. They will stick out their tongues all the way real fast to catch things they want to eat. Their eyes can see in all directions at the same time, forwards, upwards, and sideways. They are known as excellent jumpers. Some can jump 2 meters, which is about 6 feet 7 inches, the height of some people. Some can jump right from floating on the water. Some have strong hind legs, which helps them to swim. Some of these can burrow into the dirt, and still others crawl up and wrap themselves around branches.
What am I?
A frog.
You are right. It is a frog.
This next creature is sort of like a grasshopper and is very scary and ugly. They fly. They have long hind legs that they use for jumping. They move around in very large swarms. This means a lot of locusts join together and travel in a big group. They travel in these swarms and they even move from continent to continent. They eat a lot and can destroy plants and animals along their journey. They have powerful jaws and the sound of them eating can be heard a mile away. What am I?
Bradshaws, you did a great job acting. What were you?
We
were locusts.
Wow, locusts. Scary, scary. Thank you so much for coming to Miss Roseann's backyard. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now you guys know the answer because this is our last choice. This is a large animal that walks on all four legs. It is found on a farm and walks around in the hot sun, eating grass. In fact, these animals do not move much. The females give us milk. We also get beef from them. They usually say moo. For more facts about cows, let's go to Thomas.
Did you know?
Did you know what we call cows are actually cattle? The females, the girls, are cows and have udders, which is where the milk comes out from. The males, the boys, are called bulls and have horns. Cows have special stomachs. They have actually 4 stomach parts. Each of these stomach parts helps the cow eat and digest its food in a different way. When a cow eats, it first swallows its food without chewing and stores it in one part of the stomach. Later on, the cattle vomits that food back up.
Yuck!
And slowly chews it into tiny pieces so the food could be digested. Cows have hooves on their feet that could weigh up to 4,000 pounds. That was Did You Know with Thomas Bradshaw.
Did you know?
Thanks, kids. Now you can play that game at home. Have mom or dad make a list of animals and then let them tell you what those animals do so you can act them out. Now let's go back inside and listen to the story God shows his power and see how God used those creatures to show his power. Come on, let's go back inside. So Moses and Aaron told Pharaoh that God wanted him to let the Israelites go free. Do you remember that Pharaoh did not care about God? Pharaoh wanted to keep the Israelites as his slaves, which meant they were working for him with no pay, no money. And Pharaoh's soldiers were still very mean to them. So Pharaoh told Moses and Aaron, no, he will not let them go. The next morning, Moses and Aaron found Pharaoh walking along the Nile River. They said to him, Pharaoh, because you will not listen to God, this Nile River will turn to blood. While Pharaoh and all his men watched, Aaron took his staff and struck the water. God used his power to turn the river into red blood. All the fish died in the river, and the people could not drink the water anymore. But Pharaoh still did not obey God. Pharaoh still would not let the Israelites go. The next week, Moses went back to Pharaoh with a message from God. This is what God had said. Let my people go so that they may worship me. If you refuse to let them go, I will plague your country with frogs. Can you imagine frogs all over the place? Well, Pharaoh still would not obey God. So what do you think happened? That's right. God sent those frogs. God told Aaron to stretch his staff over the streams and ponds of Egypt. Aaron did as God said, and frogs came up and covered the land. There were frogs everywhere. They hopped into houses, into cupboards and ovens. They even hopped onto beds. It was awful. Pharaoh said to Moses, "If you ask your God to take away the frogs, I will let your people go." So God stopped the plague of frogs. But do you think the Pharaoh let the people go? No, he did not. His heart became hard and he became mean again. And so God sent more plagues. He wanted to teach Pharaoh and the people that he was Lord and that he had power over everything. But each time God showed his power, Pharaoh did not trust God and do not obey him. So God sent another plague. This time they were tiny gnats flying all over the place. See the gnat? A lot of them all over the place, covering the people and the animals. Even the magicians knew that this was God's power at work. The magicians told Pharaoh it was God, but Pharaoh wouldn't listen to them. So you know what happened? That's right, another plague. And this time, God sent a swarm of flies. Yes, swarm of flies all over the Egyptians. Flies poured in to Pharaoh's palace and into the houses of the Egyptians. Pharaoh couldn't stand it anymore. "I will let your people go," he cried out to Moses. But when God made the flies go away, what do you think happened? That's right, Pharaoh changed his mind. Next, sent a plague on their cattle, on their cows, even on some of the other animals such as horses and donkeys and camels and sheep, and they all got sick. Many of those animals died. But the animals of the Israelites, God's people, they did not die. God protected them. Pharaoh still did not let the people go. Yet God sent another plague. This time, painful sores broke out on the bodies of the Egyptians, on their arms and their hands and over all their body, red sores. Still, Pharaoh did not let the people go. Then God sent a storm plague of hail. Hail is like really big, hard snow, just thrown down, whoosh, all over the place. Thunder roared and lightning flashed. These balls of ice fell from the sky and beat down everything growing in the field. All of the plants were ruined. All of their food in crops were ruined. But God protected the Israelites from this hailstorm. Did Pharaoh listen? Did he obey God? Did he trust God? Not yet. He would not. So what did God do? That's right, another plague. What do you think God did? He sent another plague. This time the plague was one of the yuckiest, ugliest creatures. It was the plague of locusts. Look at that locust. How would you like those all over? Not fun. a whole bunch of locusts swept down and ate all the plants and the green leaves. Pharaoh cried out for God to stop. God, please stop those locusts. So God sent a strong wind to carry the locusts away. But after that happened, Pharaoh would not do what God said. He would not let the people go. Once again, God showed his mighty power of judgment. He sent a plague of thick darkness over all the land of Egypt. For 3 days, Pharaoh and his people could not see. But in the houses of the Israelites, there was light. Once again, God was protecting his people. Even though God had sent many plagues of judgment, Pharaoh refused to let God's people go. But God is more powerful than Pharaoh. The Israelites were God's own special people. They didn't belong to Pharaoh. God was going to keep the promise he'd made to them. God was going to take them out of Egypt so that they would trust and serve him, no matter what Pharaoh said. Are you ready to answer my questions? Great. Question 1. How did God show his power to Pharaoh? I bet you knew the answer to that. Of course, God sent the plagues. Do you remember what they were? Let's go over them. Do you remember the first one? That is right. God made the Nile River change to blood. What was the next one? Did you guess the frogs? You are right. God made frogs go all over the place. What was the next one? Did you guess those annoying gnats that you have to swat away? You are right. Gnats. What was the next one? Did you say flies? Kind of like gnats, but bigger. You have to swat those away too. They got all over the place. What was the next one? Did you say the cattle? The cattle died. Wasn't fun. Now they had no meat or milk for the people. What was the next one? Did you say sores or boils all over the people? Yuck. What was the next plague that God sent? Do you remember? Think. Who got it right? It was the hail. The big snow coming down, right? And hitting everyone and destroying all the plants and crops. What was the next one? Can you think? That was the locusts. The horrible, horrible locusts. Yuck. One of the worst ones. Big swarms of them. And what was the next one? Darkness. Darkness. They couldn't see. They couldn't do everything they needed to do every day. It's not fun not to see. And that was the last one for this episode. Question 3. What was God asking Pharaoh to do? That's right. God wanted the Pharaoh to let his people go out of Egypt, out of slavery. Question 4. What promise did God make to God's people, the Israelites? What was the promise? God promised to lead the people out of Egypt so they can love and serve him in their own land. Now, that didn't happen yet in our story. In our story, Pharaoh still won't let them go. You're going to have to find out what Pharaoh does next week to see if Pharaoh lets the people go. All through the story, all through the plagues, God protected the Israelites. He protects us too. He protects you and he protects me, even from things we cannot even see. You can trust in our powerful God just like the Israelites did. We are in the month of October. In 2 months, it's going to be Christmas time. Children, our church, we usually give gifts to children all around the world. And we are still doing that. Would you ask your mom and dad to participate and give gifts to children who may not have a lot of gifts coming their way? Their parents are poor and they may not have a lot of money and they don't have a lot of money to give gifts. Wouldn't it be great to give them gifts even if it's very, very far away? Well, Operation Christmas Child, this is something we do every year. We put some special presents in a shoebox, and those shoeboxes get sent to all the 7 continents. Yes, even Antarctica. So if you want to do that, you have to ask mommy and daddy and say, can we get a plastic shoebox and put some toys and things in? And if you do that, make sure you check Samaritan's Purse website so you can see what the rules are of what to put in. You could put things in for little kids, little toddlers who are 2 and 3, or kids who are like your age or even older. And they get so much joy. Here it says, good news, great joy. They get to learn about the gospel, about Jesus, and they get gifts. So there's more information on our website on www.discoverascension.net. And we're putting them into plastic shoeboxes this year so we can clean the outside and make sure they're safe to send. And all of these shoeboxes have to be done by early in the morning of November 20th. If you have any questions, please email me or the church. And now it's time for me to remind you about our worksheets that help you learn today's lesson. These are on our Ascension Church website. Here is the story with the title, God Shows His Power, and then mom or dad can help you read the story, and then you can do some fun activities that help us learn the story better. We even have a way, here's one that one of our kids did last year, of my God is so big, He made these. This is someone's drawing. Okay, so then you can draw the picture. If you do draw a picture, please send it to me so I can show the kids at home what amazing work that you did. Show how big is my God that He made these. Here are some mountains and the stars in the sky. And finally, let's do our Bible verse together. It is from Nahum 1:7. Oh, I have to open it up a little bit more. The Lord cares for those who trust in Him. Nahum 1:7. Can you read that with me? The Lord cares for those who trust in Him. Nahum 1:7. I want you to have a great week. Think about these wonderful things and how God protects us. And we'll see you next time on Miss Roseann Sunday School. Bye-bye.